Okie dokie, artist sweet chokies. Hope everyone is well. I know we're doing footballs today. They're throwing footballs and things like that, which is cool. If you're into that, that's pretty cool. So I hope your football team wins that you're rooting for, which I don't. I mean, I guess they both can't win, but here we are. Hi, Lotus Link. How are you? So I'm just giving it a couple of minutes and then I'm going to start talking about what I would like to discuss today, especially given kind of things that I've seen very recently. The more and more that I'm getting into the online sphere, because I've generally been kind of hesitant towards all that and like haven't really wanted to explore that, or I don't know. I guess I was always just kind of resistant to it. But as I'm getting more and more comfortable with it and sort of seeing more of what's out there, I'm pretty surprised by some things. And so today I was going to talk about the different teachers that are out there, not obviously not talking about them specifically, but what I have seen in some behaviors and things like that, and what I think there should be in a teacher that you learn mediumship from. So I'm going to be talking about that. What else am I going to be talking about? Also, some other people who are online who I also see working online, and what that does for our mediumship uh, as an idea, and whether that helps or hinders. So anyway, I hope you can join me in this conversation today. Hi, Val. So I thank you for watching while you do. Obviously, this is going to be recorded, so you can always watch it later if you run out of time. So I want to talk about, also I want to say hi, Miranda, because I know she's watching too. I would like to talk about, first thing first, I'm going to talk about something coming up here. So for those of you who are familiar with mediums and that sort of thing, you will be excited to know that Gordon Smith is arriving to the United States, and I'm super excited about it. It took me 4 years to convince him to come, but yet now here he is. So I'm really excited. He will be here. I think he arrives tomorrow. But he won't be doing anything mediumistically until the 6th of February. He will be doing a demonstration with James von Prague at the Seaside, I think it's Seaside Spiritual Center for Spiritual Living in Encinitas. So that's an opportunity to see these two mediums together. I don't know if anyone saw the live that they did together, but it was fabulous, and they are so funny. They have such a good energy with each other. So I think that if you want a really entertaining evening along with really great messages, that's definitely something to get a ticket for, because I'm pretty sure there's still tickets. I know that the VIPs are sold out, but I'm certain that there's still general tickets available. So you can do that. That's Thursday, 7 to 10. Anything else you need to know about that? Oh, you can get your tickets online at vonprog.com. So that's the, yes. So Anna, that's the demonstration for James and Gordon. Hi, Anna. And then he's going to be doing a demonstration the following evening, which is Friday, the 7th, and that will be in Culver City. So he'll be doing from 7 to 9. Then there are still VIP tickets available, and there are still general tickets available. So if you want that, contact me at my email, mediummichaelmayo@gmail.com. So contact me, and we can get you in there. So Gordon Smith is hailed as the UK's most accurate medium, and I think rightly so. I have seen him be amazing so many times. I think I've probably seen him demonstrate 6 times, and it's always been ridiculous. Like, to me, he's the one of if not the most accurate, but one of the most accurate mediums in the world that's working right now. So I highly recommend if you can come see him. I think that you will really, really enjoy that. So that's that. He's also doing a 3-day workshop, but that's already sold out, so that doesn't help anyone. So if I tell you about that, it doesn't actually make much of a difference. So yeah, so I hope you can come to the demonstration, and if I haven't met you before, I will meet you at one of the demonstrations if you do come, so that's really, really exciting. Is it going to be filmed online? It will not be filmed online, but it is for you can join, you can come, you can see it. So do come, do see it, do all of that. Hi, Tony, good to see you. So please, definitely check it out. I mean, he hasn't been here in 10 years, so it's gonna be, homecoming. Plus, he loves it. Hi, Colleen from Chicago. Hello, hello, hello. So I think this is the first live I've done in a long, 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 long time. And because, life, right? Life just gets you. So I haven't done this in a long time. And I've also had a lot more followers recently. So anywho, that is that. So what I'm going to talk about today, as I mentioned before, is teachers and their teaching styles and that sort of thing, and what is helpful, what is beneficial. Hi, Maria. Hi from the Netherlands. Hi, Ruse. Hello. I'm excited too, Tony. Sydney. Yes, Lotus. Sydney. I love Sydney. I lived in Sydney. I lived in Darlinghurst, and I also lived in Wallachia, which is far, far away. So hello, hello, hello. So what I'm going to talk about today is, and also be open for questions and things like that, is teachers. So there's a lot of online teachers. There's a lot of people doing work online, a lot of people that also do things in person and that sort of thing. And I've kind of been noticing very recently, as I've sort of begun to peek at what they do and what they say and that sort of things, and like some of their lives and things like that, that I felt it important to mention that I think there's some very specific and important things that people should feel when they're learning from a teacher. So I have been taught by what I consider some of the best mediums in the world. People who really understand the core of what mediumship is, that it's not just about a message, that it's not just about, showing like, look what I can do sort of thing, that it's actually about your spiritual awareness, your spiritual unfoldment, and really it's about your spiritual knowledge of your own being, of who you are, and what does that do to you as a result. What comes from your awareness that you are greater than just this body, that you exist longer than just this lifetime. And I feel very strongly that that is such an important thing to remember, because I feel that with a lot of like things that we do online, classes, workshops, practice groups, those are great for practicing, for seeing where we are in our development. But the true work, the true mediumistic unfoldment really comes from the work we do outside of the practice groups. It's really what we do when it's just us and the spirit world. So this is really bringing me back to this idea of sitting in the power, sitting in circle, and really sitting with your own internal spirit and getting to know that it's not that we're developing for the sake of a message, but we're developing because of our love of the spirit world. We're developing because our wanting to understand the nature of reality and how do we fit in all of this. So making it more about that and less about a goal, less about a destination, less about what we think it needs to look like or be like in that sense. So that's like the baseline. Is really our mediumistic understanding isn't about let's all become platform mediums, let's all become famous and all of that sort of thing. If that is the goal, I feel very strongly that you'll be missing out on what the heart of mediumship is. And ultimately, I think the heart of mediumship is about healing. It's about helping other people. It's about growing in that aspect. But that's just one aspect as well. The true heart of mediumship is, what is my own spiritual potential? What are the gifts that lie within me? And how can I share those gifts with the world, with the bigger picture? Because mediumship is not just for one person. Mediumship is not, selective in that way. It is, I feel, part of who you are. It's an expression of your spiritual nature. And so it's super important for us to allow ourselves that opportunity to see what mediumship leads us to. So when we think of mediumship, people usually think, oh, it's just the message, just showing that life continues on. But as one of my teachers, Eileen Davies, always says, mediumship should lead you to the doorway of your own internal being. And that, I think, is such a key and important thing. It's like, okay, cool. So we can give a message. Now what? Right? There is so much more to understanding what mediumship's value is beyond just being able to tell someone about their loved one. It's a beautiful gift. It's a beautiful thing, but there is so much more. If we make our focus about the message, we will be missing out on so much more. The message is just the tip of the iceberg. The message is just to show people, hey, there's something more. Let me show you with evidence, with proof that life is continuous. But then what does that do to you? Now that you know that this life is continuous, now that you know that there's more out there, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do differently? How are you going to live? What is that going to inspire within you to develop, to change, to grow, to become more than what you already were? Or maybe the better way to say that is not more than what you already were, but remember that you are more than what you already were. So what I see so much too with my students, or not specifically mine, but just anyone who comes to me for learning, is there's all this pressure. There's all this stress. There's all this, oh, I need to get this right. I need to do this. I need to da, 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 da. And what that does is cause all this tension in their mediumship. And I feel that a large part of that comes from our own desire to get things right, our own desire to do well. And that comes from, the education system that we come out of, and, the desire to do well. We're human beings. We want to do well. We want to make this the best that it can be. But what we have to remember is that it's not about us. That's one part of it. It's not about us. But actually, we will do better. We will be stronger in our mediumistic awareness when we let go of the tension, when we let go of the pressure, when we let go of the trying to do it the right way. Okay, because there is this sort of thing that I've been noticing online, that there's people who are saying, this is the way, there is no other way than this. Other people, when they say they can do XYZ, they really can't do XYZ. And that's where I start to have a little bit of a challenge. Like, I feel very much that two things. Number one, a teacher should always make you feel confident and comfortable, like safe. You should always feel safe with a good teacher for mediumship. If you don't feel safe, if you feel fear, if you feel pressure, if you feel anxiety, if you feel like judgment, and I mean, how many of us, I'm just going to throw this out there. I know if I could see all your hands, you'd be putting them up. But how many of us already put a crap ton of judgment on ourselves already, with this kind of work? Like, we already have so much pressure because we want to do well. We want to get it right. We want to help other people. So we don't actually need that added pressure from a teacher. In fact, what we need from our teacher is confidence, is help, is support. And a good teacher should be able to identify where you're going wrong in your connection. That's such a key and important thing. A good teacher should be able to say, hey, I notice that as you're connecting, I can see with my sense of awareness that your energy is moving into the mind and not staying in a feeling place. Or I can see that as you were receiving that information, you started to analyze it, or you started to do something with it, and that's what's just tripping you up. We should be offering, teachers should be offering guidance, but without criticism. So we can guide people without breaking them down. We don't have to break someone down and build them back up. This isn't the military. We are working with people who are sensitive. And so with these sensitive people, I mean, I know for myself, if some of the teachers that I have heard about or seen were the first ones that I worked with, there's no way I would have ever developed my mediumship. Not at all. Because I cannot function as a sensitive to be open when I'm afraid of judgment, when I'm afraid of being called out or picked on or whatever. The teacher should realize that everyone is at a different level, and that we need to support those people, and especially the ones at the beginning. When they're at the beginning, they're the most fragile. They're easily destroyed by any kind of harsh criticism. That's not to say that we can't get them to get to better excellence over time, but it's also an understanding that where someone is at is where they are at. And all we can do is just help them find their way. We're just like little guiders who are just like helping them turn into the right direction, rather than creating an atmosphere where one is afraid to speak up, might be afraid of what the teacher is going to say. So it's not just the online teachers that I have heard of that kind of behave like this, but even in person. I mean, there's some, well-known teachers who I feel, have created that environment for their students. Now I'm going to say that they do that all the time because I don't know, but I know of these kinds of things. And I know personally, like, for example, Gordon Smith as a teacher, the most caring, the most open, the most, positive. He never puts you down. He is so open. Eileen Davies, the same exact thing, encouraging, uplifting, confidence building. That's what we need in our teaching. That's what we need in the growth. Because one of the key tenets of mediumship is harmony. Harmony, love, that sort of thing. If that is not existent in a circle, if it's tension, if it's stress, if it's anxiety, then the spirit world can't work to their best ability. And so what we want to do is create an environment of fraternity, of harmony, of upliftment. In all of my classes, all I ever do is tell people that's the number one rule. We are supporting each other. We are making sure that everyone does well. And, we're not going to be critical of one another. I always say, especially in my classes, is if you are out there and you're already working, you're doing all that sort of thing, then I'm going to have a little bit of a stronger, sorry, it's a bug. Then I'll have a little bit of like, okay, well, let me see how I can support them in deepening and strengthening. But when it comes to the unfoldment of one's gifts, we can't come at them with, criticism. It has to be something that is positive, uplifting, with still telling the truth. I believe that you can tell anyone anything. It's just a matter about how you say it. And I feel like when we get into this sort of behavior of really coming across, aggressive or critical or that sort of thing, I think that has more to do with the ego of the teacher and wanting to be like, look at me, I'm telling you how it is, rather than the well-being of the student. And I think that's what's the key important thing, is we should be focusing on the well-being of the student and what's going to help them the most. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that you can understand it. So if you ever start to feel that kind of pressure, anxiety, that sort of thing from a teacher, I hope that either A, you can kind of look to, work past that if you're, still working with them and you have to work with them, and really keep your focus on the spirit. If you aren't and you're able to work with someone else, I would say keep looking, because you shouldn't have to feel that way. It does not require you to feel stress and anxiety to develop your mediumship. It doesn't. So if that's a way that maybe you work and that's fine for you and you're comfortable in that sort of thing, then cool, do that. But if that doesn't work for you, I really recommend finding someone who is going to be a positive, uplifting, and supportive thing, because what we're doing requires sensitivity, and it's hard to be sensitive when you're fearful of judgment. So I just want to throw that out there. Now, that being said, the other thing I want to talk about with learning from many, many different people is that Everyone's going to have a little bit of a different style, and I don't want to say that one is better than the other. I don't want to say that this is, everyone's going to be different. And ultimately, mediumship is an expression of your own spirit. It's a part of you. It's coming from you. And therefore, it's super important for us to not get trapped in a, this is the only way, this is how you do it. If you don't do it this way, then you're, the worst thing ever. I really try to not steer my students that way. What I try to show them is what is the most effective way. What I have noticed and seen works well, and kind of trying to build them, from the ground up, so that they're getting clear and accurate, specific information. I don't want them to be going into their mind and feeling like they have to draw things from their mind, but really keeping their awareness on the spirit world. This is why I always look back to the amazing mediumship of the past that we had. In the past, we had incredible mediums, and I think this is highlighted by the way that they developed. I think that's why it was so incredible. When people wanted to develop, they just sat in a circle, and they sat in the power, and they focused on the spirit and allowing their own energy and power to develop. Of time, it wasn't about every time we sit we have to get a message. Every time we sit, I want to be able to do this, and that. When there is that desire and that will in that way, there's something to prove, that doesn't help us. They came together in harmony for the desire to connect with whatever was going to happen. And that's when we saw miracles. That's when we saw amazing things such as physical mediumship. That's what we saw, the development of amazing mental mediumship, trance mediumship. It's so much about you coming together to the other world and saying, look, I'm just here. Let me just be utilized by you. All I'm going to do is wait. I'm going to sit in this stillness and in this quiet and wait for you to move me. Wait for you to come and move me. And I feel that that's where we begin to really begin to understand what the potential of our spiritual gifts is. If I sit you down and say, hey, give me a message, give me a message, give me a message all the time, now you have all this pressure because you're trying to achieve. The first step in our development is about learning to become still, learning to become passive, learning to become receptive to the presence and the power of the spirit. The more that we can learn to understand that energy, that the value of that still, quiet place, and the more we're going to be able to actually perceive the other world. And that's where all the details and everything come from. So anyway, that's sort of my slant on it. But I know that other people have other ideas about how it should work. So what I want to say to you is try something on, see how it works, see if it does work for you, and then if it doesn't, throw it out. If it's causing you to reach for information, if it's causing you to feel stress, if it's causing you to try, if it's causing you to be searching, those are all active things. When we're working with mediumship, we need to become passive. We need to become in sort of this in-between place where we are in this sort of altered state, but we are also still present with the person. So it's that active-passive thing. So we want to be able to move with the impressions as they come. And so I feel that, try what people are saying, give it a go. If it doesn't work for you, throw it out, find something else that does work. Because again, everyone's going to be different. Everyone has a natural level of sensitivity. And just know that if you feel discouraged right now, so I'm just going to say this for anyone who's feeling this way, if you're feeling discouraged regarding your mediumship and your journey, I want you to know that that happens to everyone. That happens to everyone on their journey at some point. They feel discouraged, they feel beaten down, they feel, any number of different emotions regarding, themselves and their development. And just know that, development isn't this linear path that just takes you from one thing to the next. It's this, and it swirls back around, and it does all kinds of things. And there's be times where you're like, I literally, are you even here, Spirit? I can't feel anything. I can't hear anything. Like, help me. and then there's other times where it's going to be a lot more clear, where it's going to be right there, and you're just like, oh, there you are. But because today is a football day, I'll use this example. A kicker kicks field goals, or so I'm told. A kicker kicks field goals. They don't always make it into the goal. That doesn't make them any less of a kicker. They're still a kicker. And just the same, when you're working with your mediumship, it may not always work the way you hope it works. There are so many different factors and things with yourself, with the spirit, with the individual in front of you that may not, necessarily work the best that time. But that doesn't mean that you aren't. It doesn't mean that you can't. And it just means that you need to continue your development, continue to understand your own spiritual nature, understand what you do, how you do it, and that way you know how to get to that place when you need to get to that place, and then how to turn that thing off when you don't need it anymore. So these are all important things. So try the different ways that people are teaching, but if it causes you to feel tension, if it causes you to feel trying, if it causes you to be searching for information, I personally, in my experience, don't find that that is helpful. The more that I engage my activity to search or try, the harder it is. The more that I just relax and allow it to come to me and just let it happen, then mediumship is effortless. It just happens, it flows, and the information comes. In the beginning, it might not feel that way because it comes slower, because we don't know what we're supposed to be paying attention to. So that's going to be all part of that process. So be gentle with yourself, be kind to yourself as you're developing. And if people aren't being kind to you, let me know. I will come down, I'll give them a spanking, okay? Even though I don't believe in spanking, but those people I will. So so just something to think about and know. So I feel like I've already discussed, what a good teacher should bring. So I don't need to talk about that. Teachers and their behavior, talk about that, and then also learning from different people. I will be taking questions in just a moment. But one thing I do really want to mention is there are so many people online posting videos and things like that of them giving messages and whatnot, and people just listen to me for a moment. Just let me just say a thing to you, and I hope that you will hear me. It's so important for mediumship to have quality mediumship on display. It is so important for us to be patient with our development so that when we do go out into the public and we begin to work, we are where we know we are being the strongest possible representative of the other world, of mediumship. There have been so many mediums who have worked so hard to make what we do legitimate, to prove survival, to bring healing to other people. So please be very clear with yourself and your understanding of your level of development before you go out there and start posting videos and start posting things and start doing all kinds of things in the public sphere that then make us look like something's wrong with us, And I'm sure I'm seeing all these hearts, I'm seeing all these people agreeing. I'm sure that you all have seen what I'm talking about. So be mindful, be conscious. I mean, I know for myself, okay, well, for example, Gordon Smith, he did not go out onto the public platform for 5 years of every week sitting in circle. He never did anything public. He was just in development for 5 years. How many of us have been in development just in circle for 5 years before we step out and do anything in public? I know for myself, I didn't start teaching until it was 10 years into my development. So, I often see, people, I took, this weekend class and now I'm going to go teach and become a medium and a teacher and whatever. You will be doing others a disservice. You will be doing mediumship a disservice. What's so important is that we develop our awareness, our understanding of spirit, not through just parroting what we've learned, but through personal experience, through going to the other world and developing that ability, developing it to the very best that it can be. When we do that, it will amaze people. I mean, so many of us look at the standard of mediumship today and often feel a little deflated because, so many people are out there before they're ready. So have the humility, have that humility to say, you know what, this doesn't feel consistent to me. I don't always, know where I'm going or what I'm doing. These things can feel confusing as I'm getting this, and rightfully so. As you're developing, that's how it's supposed to feel. So until you know and have that very grounded sense of your own spirituality, of your own mediumistic understanding, then go forward. please make sure you're developing under a trusted person. As I've said, and I've created a bunch of series of videos that are going to be put out in the next couple of days, talking about all this stuff. But one of the things that I mentioned in a video was make sure that you are working with someone who doesn't create or incite fearful beliefs and that sort of thing. The spirit world, there's nothing to fear from the spirit world. They are love, they are beautiful, they are amazing. All they do is they lift us up and support us. And anything outside of that, I don't have time for personally. One can choose to believe that if they want, but I don't. I don't experience anything that I need to worry about. And you know, life's easier that way. I'm freer, I'm happier, all that sort of thing. So you can decide what you want to believe. I'm not here to tell you what to believe, but I'm going to tell you that there's other options out there. Right. So how do we fix all this? How do we raise that standard? How do we get back to the place where we are having mediumship at the level as it could be? I think it's going back to the home circle, going back to small groups that just sit in the power together. We're not giving messages. We're not trying to do anything other than open ourselves to the Spirit and saying, Spirit, come, join us, be with us, surround us, love us. Just be in our space, and we're giving you this opportunity to develop us. When you come to the other world in that fashion, you are learning to put aside your thinking mind. So you're learning to step outside of what you do. My friend Miranda made a really good point yesterday. She said, you know, the spirit world is very limitless. The spirit world has you know, that's where the limitlessness, if that's a word, exists. The thing that is limited is our own awareness and perception, and when we work in this sphere. The more that we get out of our heads, get out of our thinking minds, the more we connect to our own limitlessness. Fuck, you know, I can't say that. And the more that we are getting into bringing in their power, their presence. So the more we get out of our way, the more that the spirit world can step in and do the miracles, do the things. And the only way that that's going to happen is if we surrender, if we allow, if we trust. As Eileen says, our trust is a gift we give to the other world. And I think that that is such an important thing. So go away from this idea that mediumship has to just be, I'm giving messages all the time. It's not that. When we go to give a message, we're showing where our development has arrived, where we've come to in our development. It's just a measuring point. However, where the real development happens is when we're sitting in circle, when we're sitting in our home circles, when we're sitting with ourselves, when we're offering that time to the Spirit. It's so vital, so important. If we want to see the standards raised, we have to make it less about the message and more about our spiritual connection to our guides and helpers, to the divine, to those the ability to connect with the spirit world. So I really, really, really think that that's a huge part of it. I'm not going to say I know that it's all of it, but it's moving us right in the right direction. It's about making mediumship again sacred, that it's a sacred, personal, spiritual experience. It's not just about, look at me, I can give a message. It's a personal experience of learning to quiet and still your mind, going into the silence. All, religious belief systems, I can't find the right word, have always had this idea of the silence, of the quiet, of the stillness. The quiet voice of God is often what we've heard. And going into that stillness and quiet is what offers the opportunity for the other world, for that greater spirit to make itself known, to speak to us. And it's not going to come through imagination. It's not going to come through visualizations and guided things like that. It's about really learning to go into that quiet, still place and just be and wait. Wait in the stillness, wait in the silence, and then something just happens. All of a sudden, boom, you have an awareness. You notice something. And it's not about us making it happen. It's about us saying to the Spirit, I will just sit here until you come. I will just wait here until you come. And until you make yourself so clear and so obvious and so effortlessly available to me, that's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'll sit here for. So it doesn't matter how long it takes. Perhaps the first time you sit, nothing happens. Perhaps the second time you feel nothing. Third time, fourth time, fifth time, nothing. 3 weeks go by, nothing. But one day, something will happen. One day you will feel that little subtle shift in your awareness, that subtle shift in your energy. It's in those moments that I think we start to realize the nature of connecting with the other world, because we've put aside our desires, our thoughts, what we think it should look or feel like, and we've learned to just be present in the power, presence in the stillness, and allow the spirit world to come and join us and be with us. It might sound weird for people who haven't experienced it, but I'm just telling you, that's where you find it. That's where you find the magic. That's where you find then your mediumship isn't just for other people. Your mediumship is now for you. Your mediumship is now a pathway to your own spiritual understanding, your own development, your own spirit. Now you're feeding your own spirit and teaching through the silence, through the stillness. So, got to say all that stuff. So I've said it. I put it out there. There you go. That's there. So you can always watch this again. It's going to be on my Facebook Live because I said a lot of things. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through some of these things that people were writing. And if you have any questions, you can ask them. So true is about self-development. Roos in the Netherlands says, so true, it is about self-development in your mediumship. True work is within the work we do when we are alone with spirit. Yes, girl, you better preach. You better preach, because that is so true. Helping others in healing indeed. Yep, absolutely, Colleen. Yes, it is. That's why I always thought the reason I love doing mediumship was to learn about my own spiritual self. Absolutely, Tony, that is so true. Hi, Linda, Doreen. Oh my God, thanks for saying this, Tony, Ruse. Yep. I'm just getting lots of yeses and thanks. You're welcome, Lotus. Tony, well said. So important for people to feel comfortable and not judge. The judgment is out of hand online. Right? I mean, completely. The judgment is just insane. It's just like, that's not what mediumship is about, guys. Mediumship is about harmony. That's like the key tenet of spiritualism in general, is like harmony and camaraderie and helping one another. Like, that's really the key. So if you see judgment, if you see people creating stress, I hope that you will find it within your own heart to reach out to them and to reach out to support them, because the one leading may not be the one doing it, but we can do it for each other, okay? Because it's not just about the person leading it. The teacher is just a guide. That's all we are. All I do is just a facilitator of giving an opportunity to hopefully that the spirit can get through and show you what you're capable of, right? So, you know, I hate it when they start to get like really campy, like not campy in the English way, but because I love that, but campy in like, we have a little camp, like, oh, I'm part of this little group, or I'm part of this little group. It's like, no, we're all part of the same group, people. We're all mediums. We're all trying to help people. We're all trying to show and spread the love. So let us do that if we can. Yes, they are. They are, and it's here by teaching all the time. It is so sad a great medium break down because they're afraid to try and grow because of judgment, right? It's awful. We want to help each other. We want to support each other. So great that the YouTube sharing. That's create harmony and beautiful upliftment together. Yes, let's do that. Come on, people. All like the people that have been watching this, like if you see this now, if you see this later. Hold on, sorry. If you see this now, if you see this later, you know, let's just decide that we're going to support each other. We're going to help each other. Let's create that space together, because if it's not going to be led by someone, then let's us lead it. Like, we'll just lead that, like, positivity and support of one another. Okay. Great advice, great advice. Love that. You're so encouraging. Oh, good. I'm glad you find that encouraging. Hi, Jasmine. Yep. Good. Do you like football? I can't say that I like football. It can be on the TV, and that's cool. But it's not something I'll just turn on my own. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Tony, you reminded me. And this is something I really want to say. Do you know what really grinds my gears? You know what really grinds my gears? What really grinds my gears is when teachers bash other teachers in a very public way and like say all this stuff about how awful they were or da 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 da. That drives me crazy. Like, to me, that's just ego. Like, you're just trying to pump yourself up and like you're trying to make yourself better than other people. And it's like, that's so unnecessary. You can still talk about what you're trying to teach someone without breaking someone else down. You don't have to do that. So don't do that. That's to go out to, if any of the teachers that do that see this, stop. Like, you're not helping anyone by doing that. Just be, you can still talk about what you didn't like about some sort of thing. If it's a technique thing or you felt that something was going on, there's no reason to like badmouth everyone. Like, I just don't do that. Just why? I don't get it. Like, who is that helping other than your ego? Like, who? I don't know. Like, I get it if you're trying to like lead a movement towards higher standards of mediumship. I love that. I'm right there on board with that. The how is what's important. How are you going to go about that? I don't think that, talking crap on people and doing like being so negative with people and all that sort of thing, that doesn't help. That doesn't help anyone. That's not actually encouraging people. That's not creating freedom. It's not creating trust. You can still call out when people are being, in their head, or maybe they, really just shouldn't even be within like sort of this sort of mediumistic thing due to other personal issues. You can still talk about those things without being negative, without abusing people, without being anything like that. So just throwing that out there. Okay. Hi, Wendy. I only practice in my circle. 9 years of gel and sitting in the power before I started going out there. Love it, Ruse. Love it, love it, love it. I do have a YouTube channel. It is Medium Michael Mayo, because I try to make everything easy for you guys. I'm just going to keep going through here, and then I'll look on this other thing. Absolutely, this is spirituality, not novelty. Yes, Alan, you better preach. Good, makes sense. Da, 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 da. Hi, Timothy. Yay. Yes, the clicks. That's exactly the word I was looking for. I can't stand the like mediumship clicks. Like, come on, people. We're spiritual. We're trying to be spiritual. We're talking about this harmony. You stand up on the platform, you go to the church, and you start speaking all these lovely words and like, oh, da, 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 da. And then the moment you walk off, you go, oh, did you see that terrible mediumship demonstration? Oh, she's working psychically, not mediumistically. She's an awful human. It's just like, oh my God, people, come on. We're supposed to actually be teaching people true things and like emulating and like holding ourselves to a higher standard. It's like, yeah, I'm not perfect. Anyone who knows me will tell you I am not perfect. But I'm also not going to go and just say that person is the worst thing in the world. Like, be yourself. Like, just be you. Let you be you, and that will draw all the right things to you, is all I'm saying. We are all part of the same group. No judgment. Yep, that's good. That's good. Lovely, lovely. Grinds my gears. I'm glad you got the joke. Thank you for that. It is a turnoff when people degrade others. I don't like it. Hi, Judy. Oh, I need to sleep. You're saying, oh, yay, good, good, good. Hi, Jennifer Rose. Oh my God, I know the accents. Okay, I think I got through all those. So let me just look here. Michael, do you plan to add more classes to your mediumship class? Yes. Yes. Yes, it will be on my website, I'm sure, at some point. Can't wait to sit in the power through your amazing teacher. Thank you, Tyler. That's very, very sweet. Yep. So, anywho, my beautiful, lovely humans, I hope that what I said today means something and like lands somewhere within you and within your being. If you feel that there are other people who need to hear this same exact thing, feel free to send it to them. Share this thing, with people that maybe need to hear this kind of thing. I know it's a long video, so it's probably not going to be seen, too many likes and things like that. But I just want to say thank you and letting me take this moment to just kind of share and kind of get that off my chest, because I can't stand it, and I just wanted to share and like know that there's other options. You don't have to feel uncomfortable. You don't have to feel nervous. You don't have to feel afraid. Like, just this should be about love. Ultimately, that's what this is all about. We should be helping each other, supporting each other, building each other up, and we can still perfect, and we can still work on, and we can still adjust and like improve and change, what's being done, and still, hold ourselves to a higher standard as well, without the negativity, without the breaking people down. I hate this idea. This isn't the military, folks. We're not going to break people down and build them back up. It's just, what? What? No, that's not what we do here. What we do here is we support and we speak to the truth that's in someone's spirit. We speak to the highest part of someone, and we draw that part out, not smack you down and break you into something else. I can't stand it. Hey, Stephanie. I've been thinking about you. That always seems to be the number one complaint with the mediumship purists. Yeah. I don't get it. It's weird. See you soon. Let's co-create. Thank you loads. Bye, Ruse. Have a good sleep. Love to watch your videos. Very informative and reassuring. Thank you, Michael. You're welcome, Wendy. Hi, you should call me, Stephanie. Let's talk to each other. I'd love that. Sorry, it's just so random. One of my really, really close friends who I haven't spoken to in a really long time has just popped on, and I love you, so I just want to say that. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there. I hope that you got something out of all of this. Please share this with people who need to hear it. And I really hope that everyone is well and good and lovely. And remember, Gordon Smith is here this next weekend. So, and Thursday, Friday are demonstrations. So if you want to come, email me, mediummichaelmayo@gmail.com. You don't want to miss this. So if you're in Southern California area, hit me up and we can get you tickets to all of that good stuff. So, love you all. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I hope you have an awesome day. I hope football happens good. And I'll talk to you all very, very soon, okay? Bye. Bye. Yes, call me tomorrow. Yes, bye.